Great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." You've probably heard the saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Well, today, we're going to explore this idea from a Stoic perspective. We'll discuss the 7 types of people who can hinder your progress in Stoic philosophy and how to navigate these challenging relationships. Before we begin, I'd appreciate it if you could click like on the video to help me continue spreading Stoic philosophy. If you're not subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you won't miss any videos. Type of person to avoid. 1. The complainer. We all have that friend, family member, or co-worker who seems to find fault in everything, whether it's the weather, work, or even the food at a popular restaurant. They never miss an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. You might wonder, why should I be concerned about this? I can just ignore them. Well, that's easier said than done. Constant exposure to such negativity has a draining effect on your mental well-being. It's like a dripping faucet, gradually depleting your emotional energy reservoir. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on actionable solutions instead of complaining about problems. For example, imagine you're collaborating on a project with someone who is a perpetual complainer. Every meeting turns into an exhausting session of complaints, with no constructive dialogue. The impact on team morale is negative. You stray from finding actionable solutions, and you'll likely become increasingly disenchanted with the project and perhaps life in general. So how does Stoic philosophy help us deal with a complainer? There are several strategies you can employ. First, limit your exposure to this person whenever possible. If that's not possible, perhaps because they're a family member or co-worker, your second option is to mentally distance yourself during their diatribes. Think of their complaints as a passing storm, noisy and disruptive, but ultimately temporary and powerless in the face of the unmovable mountain that is your own inner tranquility. Your third option is to steer the conversation towards solutions or change the subject to something more constructive. Quoting Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This timeless Stoic wisdom encourages us to protect our mental peace diligently, ensuring that the negativity of chronic complainers doesn't divert us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Type of person to avoid. 2. The drama magnet. Imagine you're sailing through life like a ship on calm waters, but then you encounter the whirlpool known as the drama magnet. This person seems to have an endless series of crises, conflicts, or controversies, and like a whirlpool, they have the disruptive ability to pull you into their vortex of chaos. You might initially be drawn to their energy, mistaking it for passion or excitement. However, you'll soon realize that being in their sphere is like sailing a ship in a storm. It's exhausting and dangerous. What makes dealing with drama magnets so complicated is that their crises often seem like your own. Their chaos is contagious, and you might even find yourself embroiled in conflicts you had no initial part in. Let's take a practical example. You have a friend who frequently falls out with others in your social circle. Today they're not speaking to Sarah, tomorrow it's Tom. Your friend comes to you for advice, but you notice this cycle never ends, and suddenly you also find yourself at odds with Sarah or Tom because you tried to intervene. In this case, you could employ a technique called reflective listening. Instead of offering advice or taking sides, repeat their words back to them. For example, if they say, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you can respond with, "So, you feel betrayed by Sarah's words." This technique allows you to provide emotional support without getting entangled in the drama. Another approach, which may seem counterproductive, is to become selectively unavailable. Stoicism reminds us to value our time, and sometimes that means not being available for other people's crises, especially if they're recurring and unsolvable. Turn off your phone during certain hours. Create focus periods where you concentrate solely on your work or personal development, and make it known that during those times, you're not to be disturbed. Drawing inspiration from Stoic thought, Socrates once said, "The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less." This can be particularly useful when dealing with drama magnets. Instead of anxiously worrying about what crisis will come next, Focus on the present moment, where you have control. Enjoy your life and don't let it be disturbed by someone else's drama. Make it a point to sail your ship calmly, avoiding whirlpools that threaten your journey towards personal growth and tranquility. Type of person to avoid, number 3, the pessimist. Imagine you're an artist painting a canvas. Each brushstroke adds color, depth, and life to your vision. Enter the pessimist. They walk into your studio, look at your work, and immediately start criticizing it. Are you sure about that color? It doesn't look realistic. Do you know most artists never make it? Their words, like strokes of gray paint, start dulling your vibrant canvas. This isn't simple constructive criticism, which can be valuable. Instead, it's a persistent aura of doubt and negativity. For instance, suppose you're excited to embark on a new career path. You've done your research, talked to professionals in the field, and maybe even taken some preliminary courses. When you share your enthusiasm with the pessimist, they quickly list all the reasons why it won't work. The market is too competitive. Do you have the right skills? What if you fail? Soon, their doubts start feeling like your own, and the self-confident vision you had begins to waver. How do you deal with a pessimist, especially when they might be someone close to you? An unconventional but effective method is to seek advice from them rather than just sharing your plans or aspirations. When people are placed in an advisory role, they're less likely to attack your ideas directly and may offer more constructive feedback. Another approach involves flipping the script through a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of absorbing their negativity, challenge them to think of solutions. If they say you'll never be able to change careers at this stage, counter with, interesting perspective. How do you think someone could successfully change careers then? This not only deflects negativity but also encourages a more constructive conversation. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus: "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen more than we speak." Listening doesn't mean absorbing everyone's negativity. It means discerning between valuable information and just noise. When pessimists start overshadowing your canvas with their shades of doubt, take a step back, listen, reflect, and continue painting your own life with the colors that resonate with you. Don't let anyone turn your vibrant masterpiece into a gray and monotonous landscape. Type of person to avoid, number 4, the victim. Imagine life as a game of chess where each player has the same pieces and the same objective: to checkmate the opponent's king. You think strategically, make sacrifices, and take some risks. But the victim blames the board, the pieces, or even the opponent for every bad move they make. In their view, they're perpetually in checkmate, not because of their choices, but because of some external force acting against them. Their narrative is an endless tale of misfortunes, with themselves as the helpless protagonist. We can acknowledge that some people face genuine adversity and systemic issues. However, the victim we're discussing uses their situation as a permanent excuse, refusing to take any responsibility for their actions or lack thereof. You might find yourself entangled in their narrative, perhaps as the supporting character who constantly needs to rescue them. For example, you've spent countless hours listening to a friend blame all their failed relationships solely on their ex-partners. This not only consumes your time but can also subtly encourage you to adopt a victim mentality in your own life. So, what's your move when dealing with a victim, especially when they might be someone close to you? It can be tempting to become their savior, offering endless advice and emotional support. However, the Stoics would recommend setting firm boundaries to protect your own mental state. You can employ a technique called compassionate detachment. Show empathy and kindness, but don't try to rescue them from situations they need to navigate on their own. Offer a listening ear, but avoid becoming the perpetual problem solver. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. If you find yourself drawn into the victim's narrative, resist the temptation to become one as well. Take control of your own chessboard, make your moves, and remember that, in the chess game of life, being perpetually in checkmate is often a choice, not a destiny. Keep your pieces moving, make strategic sacrifices when needed, and play not for revenge or self-pity but for growth and wisdom. Type of person to avoid. 5. The toxic positivist. You know this person. They're always exuding joy, rainbows, and an endless stream of emojis. They're the ones who tell you to just be happy when you're going through a tough time, dismissing your feelings and experiences with a dismissive wave of optimism. Imagine your life as a garden. There are flowers, but there are also weeds and pests. The toxic positivist, however, insists on ignoring anything that isn't a blooming rose. If you have aphids on your leaves, they'll say, just focus on the flowers. Don't let negativity enter your garden, while waving a magic wand of unwavering optimism. Though this may sound uplifting, their approach can make you feel invalidated and disconnected from reality. Suppose you're going through a difficult breakup. You're sad, confused, and seeking some emotional balance. The toxic positivist's advice is, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Just smile and be happy. This kind of excessive positivity neglects the complexity of human emotions and the realities of life's challenges. So, how do you tend to your garden without letting the toxic positivist destroy it with their indiscriminate optimism? An effective strategy is to engage them in a discussion that embraces both light and shadow. If they say, look on the bright side, at least you have your health, you can respond with, yes, I'm grateful for my health, but it's also okay for me to feel sadness about this specific issue. Both can coexist. You can also employ what psychologists call emotional granularity, the ability to feel and differentiate a wide range of emotions, both positive and negative. When the toxic positivist pushes you to just be happy, take a moment to acknowledge and label your emotions in a more nuanced way. I'm feeling a bit melancholic today because of X, and that's okay can be a liberating statement. Taking inspiration from Stoic thought, Socrates once said, the secret of happiness you see is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. This can be particularly useful when dealing with toxic positivists. Instead of anxiously striving to only focus on the positive, embrace life's complexity with equanimity. So, the next time the toxic positivist showers confetti over your carefully cultivated garden, take a step back. Remember that a garden needs both sunshine and rain to flourish. Embrace the entire emotional spectrum and continue tending to your garden with the richness and complexity it deserves. Type of person to avoid. Number 6. The manipulator. Imagine your life as a movie script. You're the main character, and you have an idea of how your story should unfold, where the plot twists are, who your allies and mentors are, and how your final act will be. Enter the manipulator, the shadowy producer, who subtly rewrites your script without you noticing until one day you realize your story has veered off course. The manipulator is skilled in the art of emotional or psychological maneuvering. They can use compliments, emotional blackmail, or even deception to steer you in a direction that benefits them. You might have a coworker who constantly interrupts you with trivial questions, turning your productive workday into a series of fragmented moments. Or it could be a friend who invites you to countless social events you're not interested in, making you feel obligated to attend and draining your time and energy. These interactions may seem inconsequential in the moment, but the cumulative effect can be profoundly disruptive. So, how do you protect your story from being ruined by a manipulator? An effective strategy is the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that involves breaking your work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes long, separated by short breaks. During these intervals, make it clear that you should not be disturbed. This establishes a boundary that protects your most productive moments from being wasted. If you find yourself dealing with a social manipulator, remember that saying no is not only acceptable, but essential for your well-being. Instead of offering elaborate excuses, be firm and assertive. "No, thank you, I can't do that," is a powerful phrase. You owe no further explanations to anyone. Another important technique is to keep a journal of your interactions with the manipulator. Record the requests they make, how you feel after each interaction, and how it affects your productivity and well-being. This will help you recognize patterns and make more informed decisions about how to deal with them. Paraphrasing Marcus Aurelius, reflect long enough to take action. Don't allow manipulators to rewrite your story. Protect your vision and goals with determination and resilience. And when necessary, say no without guilt and defend your narrative with confidence and integrity. Type of person to avoid. Number 7, the inflexible. Imagine you're walking on a trail in the woods. Your journey is filled with challenges, but you're open to learning, growing, and adapting to circumstances. Enter the inflexible perfectionist, the person who believes the only way to walk is perfectly straight, without stumbling or deviations. They are rigid, relentless, and insistent on pursuing perfection, whether in their own personal standards or by imposing their expectations on you. You might have a coworker who's constantly fixated on tiny details and gets upset about any deviation from the plan, even if it's to address a real issue. Or a family member who insists your life must follow a certain course, even if it goes against your own aspirations and values. The inflexibility of the inflexible perfectionist can create a toxic environment of judgment and anxiety, making it difficult for you to accept your own imperfections and learn from your mistakes. So, how do you walk on the path of life without being tripped up by the inflexible perfectionist? One strategy is to embrace the growth mindset, which is the belief that skills and intelligence can be developed through effort and continuous learning. When the inflexible perfectionist expresses disapproval of your mistakes or learning attempts, remember that it's through these errors that you grow and improve. Another technique is to set clear boundaries. You don't have to accept or submit to the impossible standards of the inflexible perfectionist. Assert your own goals and values and defend them firmly, even if it means disagreeing or temporarily distancing yourself from them. Remember the words of Epictetus: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. The inflexible perfectionist may try to impose their own limits on your journey, but only you have the power to determine what's possible and achievable for you. Stay flexible, learn from challenges, and keep walking confidently toward your goals, imperfections and all. Conclusion: while it may be tempting to believe that all relationships are valuable, Stoic philosophy reminds us that our mental health and our pursuit of virtue require discernment. It's not about cutting off relationships indiscriminately, but recognizing how certain people can affect us and developing strategies to navigate these challenging relationships. By identifying the 7 types of people who can hinder your progress in Stoic philosophy, the complainer, the drama magnet, the pessimist, the victim, the toxic positivist, the manipulator, and the inflexible perfectionist, you gain the power to protect your peace of mind, stay focused on your Stoic principles, and continue your journey toward virtue and wisdom. Remember that you are the author of your own story, and the choice of who to share your narrative with is yours. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. I'm glad you watched until the end. If you found this video helpful, please click like and share it with others who might benefit. If you have any experience with these types of people or additional strategies for dealing with them, share them in the comments below. Your contribution is valuable. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss any videos on Stoic philosophy and personal development. Thank you for watching, and may you continue your journey toward Stoic virtue and wisdom. Everyone stay with the Creator.